Aloha, friends. Good to see you. It's Boise, your friend, your brother, your comrade here in the screen world. And thanks for tuning in. This is my Made It to Hawaii Safe and Sound report. I am on the Big Island. Been here since Saturday night, arrived alive, thanks to my sister and her partner in Vegas for taking care of me. Got all my things out of Los Angeles. I've successfully exited LA. Oh, to escape from LA. I love it there. I love the people there. And I will be back there in June for a workshop that I'll be teaching on June 14th in Marina del Rey. Stay tuned for details. And I'll also be back doing some work, pitching the story that I'm putting together here. Some of you are well aware of that. If not, stay tuned, subscribe, keep tuning in. But I wanted to check in with you today because this word dis is a word that, distract and distracted and dis-ease, disrupt, disappoint. Back in hip hop in the 80s, where I grew up in New York, dissing somebody meant to put them down, to slam them, to disregard or disassociate. And I wanted to just explore that because a lot of people are having a difficult time and they're feeling disappointed by the way the world is going. I'm one of those people, but oftentimes people ask me, how are you staying so happy? It's not because I live in Hawaii right now. That just happens to be a circumstance and a result of the footwork, the prayers, the meditation, and whatever my higher power has in store for me. But I am here because this was the next right place to come to free myself from the distractions of Los Angeles, the distractions of what's happening in the world. That doesn't mean I don't care. I'm not running from LA. I didn't bail. I didn't leave because I didn't love it anymore. I love the people. I miss the weather, the 72 degrees, sunny, blue skies and breezes. Here in Hawaii, it's upcountry. It's a little chilly. And when I get down to the water, I'm always overdressed and the rain is unpredictable. I mean, I'm on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and the nearest place I could fly to is Los Angeles. Having just been there for 30 years, I'm happy to be here for the next 3 months working on my project. And then, yes, I'm heading off to France. You know most of that if you watched the last video. If you didn't, I fill you in on that. But I wanted to get into how I stay present. Some people seem to think I have some magic formula or a secret. So I'm here to share whatever will support you in being more interested in taking care of yourself and less kind of triggered or hooked in by the disregard in the world for people taking care of themselves. So the first thing I want to talk about is environmentally. My environment has changed. I moved from, as I mentioned, from Southern California here to the islands on the Big Island in Hawaii, just south of Kona. And the environment here, it's great. I mean, it's paradise, but the environment of the world, I see a lot of people freaking out about what's happening. There's over 50 wars, there's fires, there's floods, there's earthquakes. There was a flood in Italy yesterday. LA's coastline is destroyed from the fires in January. Here over on Maui, they're still rebuilding from the fires that happened just within the last year. And the sheer amount of environmental disasters we're seeing in the world makes it overwhelming to disengage from all that. But we don't want to because it's our planet, right? Here's how I do that. We are in the 6th mass extinction. Every 100 million years or so, there's a mass extinction. We are in the 6th one right now. It's happening right on time. And there are dozens of species of animal life, mammals, birds, insects, aquatic life, human beings that are dying off every day. A mass extinction is a huge die-off. Happens in our bodies every day. As we age, we get wrinkles, we get gray hair, our tissues tend to break down. And that's what's happening on planet Earth. So if you're freaking out about the dolphins washing up on the coast of LA because the water's so polluted, or, the certain species of turtle that's dying, or, the bird migration where they all fell out of the sky, put it in context. It's part of a 6th mass extinction that's happening. I don't think we're helping. No new oil has been found in the surface of the earth since the 1970s, but fossil fuels are certainly putting a lot of carbon into the atmosphere. And some people don't really care because they just think this will all be over soon. But I'll tell you, environmentally, how I keep my peace of mind, how I stay present, as I contextually know through science, reasoning, research, and intellect that there's a 6th mass extinction. So it doesn't mean I don't care. It doesn't mean it doesn't break my heart to see creatures dying, but why should you have your entire day be ruined when you can see that there's a huge die-off happening in the world? It's part of the cycle of life. We're in the season of life on planet Earth where there's a big die-off. Scientists have been predicting it for years, and it's happening. So environmentally, that's how I stay present. Relationally, working with other people, listening to other people, a couple basic things that I've shared about it before. Projection, the rule of projection. Nobody really talks about projection anymore. People that say things about you that are untrue are probably what they're not willing to admit is true about themselves. It's projection, throwing insults, throwing jabs, accusing the other side. Basic rule of thought, if somebody is upset when you accuse them of doing something that you have evidence to prove they did, that's a projection. They're being upset because they don't want to admit that they did something wrong. So they get mad at you, or they gaslight you, or they accuse you, or they say, I don't know what you're talking about, and they make you sound crazy. So projection is something that's happening out in the world with disrespecting each other. And if somebody bothers you, or somebody's behavior is unbecoming, or somebody's not really showing up in a way that makes you feel safe or comfortable, walk away. You don't have to stay there. Sleep on the couch, get a hotel room, move. Or if it's work, go to another room, notify HR, but stay in your lane, do your job, and don't let them affect you. Don't let them disrupt, and disturb your peace of mind. And that's one of the ways I do to stay present. If I'm in a room or I don't feel safe, or somebody's speaking to me disrespectfully, I say, okay, you might be right. Sorry you feel that way. I'm going to leave the table now. I don't like the way you're speaking to me, so I'm going to excuse myself. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not being rude. You're not being disrespectful. You don't have to stick around just because it's tough, but you can reserve the right to remain undisturbed by other people. Physically, I'm drinking more water. I meditate. I drink water. I manage my sleep, and I get lots of hugs. So that's how I'm managing myself physically, by staying present and staying in self-care and not getting dysregulated. Next thing is mentally. Mentally, I like to read. I like to read things that are challenging. I like to read things that make me think and make me think differently, make me think things through. One of the things that segues into spiritually, I said I meditate. I pray every day. I have a God of my understanding. I have a higher power. You don't have to be a religious or spiritual person. You can be an atheist and agnostic, but to have faith doesn't mean you can't reason things. And to have reason doesn't mean you can't have faith in things turning out. It's always turned out. Look at where we are. Technology has advanced, but it's supplanted man's quest for meaning. Now we're just like, oh, well, it is the way it is. And we're no longer interested in thinking through, well, could it be better? Could we do it differently? And then man has also oftentimes replaced reason with faith. Well, that's the way God wanted it to be. Or, oh, God's going to save me. Or, oh, Jesus is going to come back, get me off this rock, so I don't have to worry about the fires, the floods, the die-off. So we can have both. Two things can be true at the same time. We can reason things out, and we can have faith in a power that's greater than ourselves. Einstein called it the cosmic religion, cosmic consciousness. The more he studied science, the more he believed in God. So for me, I find myself always at the intersection of storytelling, science, and spirituality. And in that sweet spot, I find I can reason things out, I can have faith, and I can be engaged in the story of life without having the drama and being disturbed by the disruptors and the disruption and the disrespectfulness. I don't need to go there. I can put my hands up and say, I'm done now. I'm done with this. And I can leave and go where I feel I'm loved, go where I feel I'm respected. And I'm really learning that way of life. And, Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss. And I'm here in Hawaii because I'm following my bliss. I came here to work, to focus. I'm not on a vacation. I haven't even been to the beach. I've been here 5 days. I'm here to work. I'm here to focus. I'm here to finish writing. I'm here to finish creating. And then I'll go back to LA. I'll pitch what I wrote. And then I'll go to France and paint. My two favorite things. Where are they? These are my two favorite tools right now. This and this. My pen and my paintbrush. And those are the two things that I'm using most often. And that's how I'm keeping myself grounded, present, and taking care of myself. Context is decisive. So I want to talk a little bit about this spiritual prayer meditation, but also this movement of, what's happening around the world, these zealots and demagogues trying to impose their religion and their spiritual beliefs on everybody, that we're all supposed to live the same way. I'm not okay with that. I don't like it. If you have a religion, great. I'm happy for you. If you have a faith in a higher power, thank God, because so do I. But you don't get to tell me how to believe in God, and you don't get to tell me what God is. That's my own personal belief. And to project and disturb my peace and my relationship to faith, you can do it. I just reserve the right to not listen. And I don't believe that anybody should live in a place where you're told what to believe. Now, did Christianity win the game? Yeah, we measure time before Christ, BC, AD, after death. And the book that's been published more times than any other book is the Bible, whether it's the New Testament or St. James Version. The Bible is the most populous book on the planet. There's more Bibles, right, than anywhere else. But there are also lots of other religions, lots of other belief systems. And if you distill them all down, there are more similarities in religion than there are differences. And I want to talk about religion replacing reason with faith, blind faith, thinking that God's going to handle everything. We're still responsible. We inherited the earth. God gave us this planet, and we're responsible for it, to leave it better than we found it. So I believe I wrote this, I believe in a higher power, but I'm not willing to let someone steal my smarts and replace them with blind faith. You can have both, reason and faith. But I think one without the other is foolish. I think somebody who reasons all the time and thinks too much should also have faith in things turning out, and in the wonder of not knowing how it's going to turn out or what created all this. On the other side of the coin, to have a God that created all this, but to not reason things out with each other of how we can make this world better and just leave it up to an imaginary being in the sky, I think is also foolish. So two things can be true. And this is what I wrote. If Jesus comes, he's going to high five me because of who I am as a person. I believe Jesus would, hey man, you're doing great. Nice job. I like the way you roll. He's going to high five me. And whether he invites me to heaven or not, I'm going to tell Jesus, frankly, I like it here. And if you want me in some other world when my time is done here, then, put my name at the door and maybe I'll show up. But whether I go to another place after this place or not, that's up to God. That's not up to me. I'm just trying to be a good person, a virtuous person, leave this place better than I found it. But I'm not waiting for something to come and take me to a better place. I am here trying to make this a better place. And whether I go to a heaven or not, that's up to God. But I like it here on earth. I'm enjoying my time. I'm grateful for my breath and my heartbeat. And I do believe that there is a power greater than myself that gives me a beating heart and gives me a constant breath. And one day that breath will go away. And one day that heart will stop. And at that time, I will meet my maker. And then I'll understand what's next. Maybe I'll come back here again. I don't know. I'm not worried about that today because I've reasoned it out and I have faith. Lastly, I want to talk about your attention. That's another way I stay present. It's another way that I take care of myself. And right now I'm spending my time in Hawaii, right? And I'm spending my days waking up. This morning, I woke up at 4:45 in the morning and I'm in a writer's group and we met for an hour and 15 minutes. And then I wrote and I created art and I made some phone calls and I did some texts and I did some emails. And I wrote this guide called my Biblos. It stands for Bible. And I wrote it before I left Los Angeles. And, my word for the year is visibility. And I'm being in the light. God is light. The universe is light. Let there be light, travel light. And I wrote this to be visible because I want to be in the light. And I'm doing that because I'm disciplining myself to share my talents by using the time I have to focus my attention on the things that matter the most to me, which is sharing art in the world during a very dark time where people are really disturbed. People are disturbed mentally. People are disturbed financially. People are disturbed geographically speaking, environmentally speaking, our mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. And we're not being very nice to each other. And that's part of why I'm creating art right now, because I want to be able to affect people in a way that has them think twice and also have faith in being kind and that kindness will come back to you. So your time is your attention. And the question I want to leave you with is, what are you willing to give up to make your dreams happen? I had to give up 14 people I love, including my mom, my cat, my home in Venice, to make all this happen, my dream. I had to give all that up, and I didn't want to give any of it up. I'm closer to my mom since she died than I've ever been in my life, and I'm closer to my sister and my dad. Death is a great unifier. It brings us together. My cat's doing great, and she's happy, and I don't miss her because she doesn't belong to me anymore. And she never belonged to me. We were just holding each other's hands for 9 years. That house didn't belong to me. I dreamed about it for a couple of days ago. It was torn down to the stilts. I had people there for my past, my present, and my future. And they all looked at me and said, what are you going to say? I'm like, I don't know. Goodbye. Hello. See you in the next life, or see you tomorrow, whichever comes first. And then I woke up and I was happy that that time's complete. And now I get to be out in the world and see what's next. What does God, what does my higher power have in store for me next? I can't wait to see the miraculous ways that God continues to work my life out. So that's what I was willing to do to make my dream happen. I was willing to give up everything, gave up my van, gave up my stuff. And I'm literally traveling with a backpack and a suitcase full of books and a computer and a phone and an iPad and a water bottle and some paintbrushes and my zine and my How's Your Heart guide, which is emotionally how I stay regulated. If you want to know emotionally how I stay regulated, June 14th, I'll be teaching a workshop in Los Angeles on Saturday, June 14th, workshop in Los Angeles while I'm in town pitching my writing project before I go to France. Why am I going to France? Because I'm going to France to paint. I've always wanted to be a painter. I studied French for 8 years. This is my French, future French sketchbook. And I started using it this week. And I'll put this down like this so you can see. So I started doing my artwork in this. And basically, I started creating my art to see like, well, what mediums do I want to work with? So I have these pens that I bought, and I have some paints. And this is kind of my style, my cartoony style, right? So I started doing like an alphabet, and then I started creating like some patterns. And then I did some other art by doing some doodly bits. And then I did this self-portrait of art. And I'll read to you what it says. It says, this place calls, I'm talking about Hawaii here, because obviously this is called Aloha. It says, this place calls for pause and begs one to slow down and see the real beauty in the life of a human being lies in the reality of a captured moment in connection with nature. And from that place comes a peace we all secretly seek. So aloha means love, peace, affection, compassion, and mercy. Aloha is a way of life. And it's a core value in the Hawaiian culture. So I'm here celebrating aloha. That's another like little thing that I drew the other day. And then I'm working on, mixing these mediums together, these paints, these inks, these pens, these markers, and I'm just exploring. There's my last image of Los Angeles there is, really asking myself to remember that the journey is the destination. And I've heard that before. I've also heard follow your bliss. And those things never really made sense to me, but they're starting to make sense to me at 55 and a half years old, because with age comes wisdom, right? And we start to synthesize all our pain, all our collective struggles. And, there's a quote in the zine that my grandmother gave me that I absolutely love. And I'll read it to you now. And it's, some people seem to guide through life without breaking a sweat, without doubting at one time or another if they'll ever make it. I think God gives us struggles, gives them as a gift, so that just maybe in the end, the victories taste a bit sweeter. That's this quote right here. My grandmother gave me that when I originally applied to get into the college of my choice, and I didn't get in. And she sent me that, and I was like, huh. And then 2 weeks later, I got in. So you just never know how it's all going to turn out, everybody. But it's going to turn out. It always has. It always will. And with faith, with kindness, with compassion, and taking care of yourself and staying present and not letting the great disruption that's happening in Kali Yuga, look it up. The sixth mass extinction, look it up. Science isn't dead. Reason and faith. I think there's a nice intersection where we can find ourselves believing in a power greater than ourselves, but also understanding that this cosmic religion, this cosmic consciousness is the same stuff that makes up everything in the universe. And no matter what happens next, I wish you well. I'll pray for you. Thanks for taking 20 minutes to sit with me and let me share. And again, if you want to attend my emotional workshop, I've never done a workshop around my book, but I wrote this book 5 years ago. I created some methods that I use to regulate myself emotionally. I've come out of a deep, dark depression and suicidal ideation. Haven't had those thoughts in 2 years. and did it with no medication, with light therapy. I'm not saying that's right for everybody, but I found the right pocket for myself. And it's the intersection of prayer, meditation, faith, community, and not being disturbed, not letting things diss me, you know? And that is the greater context of what's happening in the world. Big changes are afoot. Nobody gets off this rock alive, but it doesn't mean that while we're here, we have to suffer in fear and dread and worry. We can be happy regardless of our circumstances. And as far as financially goes, I did file my pension, but I'm not rich. It's not a lot of money, but I'm trusting God. And today, all my needs are met. I have a roof over my head. I have gas in the car. I have clothes on my back. I have food in the fridge. I have money in the bank. I have breath. I have heartbeat. And I have you, my friends, people I get to share my life with. So spend less time on your phone. Your attention is yours. You gave it generously. Thanks for the 21 minutes today, but spend less time on these phones. There's been no other device in human history that activates all 7 cardinal vices at once: lust, envy, greed, gluttony, anger, pride, sloth. This thing is the devil. This thing is the bedevilments, the cardinal sins, the 7 vices of humanity. The minute you turn it on, there they are: lust, envy, greed, gluttony, anger, pride, sloth. You don't want to do anything, you're lazy? Well, time wasted doing something you like is not wasted time, as Bertrand Russell said. But if you're avoiding giving the gifts that God gave you to the world, that's laziness, that's sloth, that's a sin. So stay off your phones, connect with people, try to be out in the world and do good things, be nice to each other, and don't be disrespectful to yourself, and see if you can pay that forward to others. Thanks so much for letting me tune in with my first Aloha Hawaii update. I wish you all well on this Thursday, my favorite day of the week. Happy spring. May the sunshine of the Spirit find and kiss your skin. Brown it to the perfect amount. And may your higher power continue to guide you in faith and reason and trust that things will work out. They always have. They always will. I love you. Thank you. I'll see you next time.